If you are curious about the difference between a Gillio Pocket Cara and a Moterm Versa Pocket, then stay tuned. So I was excited to be able to do this quick little comparison for you guys, just so that you can see the differences between the two, so that it allows you to make a better decision in your purchases. All right, so this one here is the Gillio Cara Pocket. This is in the color orange. It's coming off a little bit lighter than True Color. It's pretty pumpkin orange. It's really just tough to see it in my lighting here. It's definitely one of those that is a chameleon. This is the Moterm Versa Pocket. It as well is coming off a little bit lighter. It's definitely more of a warmer pink. So a lot of it is just my lighting today, and it's just a little off, but that's okay. So basically, just kind of looking at them side by side like this, they're pretty similar. I can tell you height-wise that the Moterm is literally just millimeters taller than the Gillio. And when we get into the planner, you'll kind of see why I think that that is a bonus for the Moterm for sure. And then as far as width goes, I know for sure that the Moterm is bigger. I sort of messed that up there. Hang on. I know the Moterm is a little bit bigger because one, it has bigger rings. Two, I can stuff a lot more in it. So it is a lot thicker right now. So with it being thicker, they look like a similar size, but I know that the Moterm is not hugely, you know, there's not like a huge difference, but the Moterm definitely has a little bit more in the width as well to allow to add more things to it. Now, my Gillio, in my opinion, is fairly stuffed. Could I possibly get a little bit more in there? Probably. You can see that I only have a small little notebook here versus in here. So let's just kind of compare top views a little bit. I don't have a pen in this one, but there is. Hang on. Let's do that just so that we can kind of see that comparison with the pen kind of sticking out a little bit. Okay. Okay. So looking at this for our view, you can kind of see now putting the pen kind of pushes the back of this one a little bit, whereas here you can see in the Cara that it definitely is not pushing it. Now if I move, it's possible if I move the inside just a bit, it won't hit it as much. Let's see. There we go. So I moved it a little bit and it doesn't hit it as much, but it's still not quite the same as the Cara. Now, I don't know the exact size of rings that come in the Moterm. I did try to measure them and it seemed like there were maybe 19 millimeter, 19 or 20. They definitely are bigger than these tiny little baby 13s. Okay, so you can see that with that I can get a lot more papers in my rings here versus the papers that I can get in my rings here. Also, you can see that I have a full-size half year, and when I say full size, I mean I never cut it down, half year A6 Stology in the front, versus all I could fit in here really was one of the small A6 supplements that you can get from Hobonichi with the Hobonichi paper. Now, again, that's going to be preference on how much you're using your notebooks. I think it'll be okay for me because I'm really just kind of using my notebook more as a brain dump. This way I can sort of take the notes sections out of the middle here, and I can just put it in here as far as, you know, just dumping whatever info that I need there. Now, also looking at the top view here, you can see that Moterm comes with a flyleaf for their Pocket, Versa Pocket, and there is no flyleaf that comes with the Gillio Cara. So those are some differences there. And also on the flyleaf, there is an additional pen loop there. So, you know, obviously no flyleaf, so no additional pen loop. And then you can see the pens there. Now the pen pocket is not quite as deep on the Versa, so it does stick up a little bit. So you can see it does still stay below that pocket lining, but it does stick up more than the Caras. Okay, now let's get into the poppers. So the poppers are definitely a little bit different. This one is thick, not thicker, thinner as far as in this direction than the Caras. The Caras is a slightly fatter popper pocket, popper clasp, I'm sorry, not pocket. And so there is a difference there. The one thing though, to me, that is the big deal, which I do tend to like a chunkier clasp, I will say. But the one thing that's a big deal is this, two things. The first deal is Moterm makes double poppers. Gillio does a single. So the double helps you. So if it's, see how I have her stuffed so much, I cannot snap that one closed. So no big deal. I just go to the second one instead. Boom. Whereas if this one is full, I got to take something out because it's not going to close anymore. So to me, that's a big deal. The second thing in the clasp that is, to me, again, another big deal, and I really wish that for this super high-end, expensive planner, I wish Gillio did this. They should possibly take some looking from how Moterm is making theirs. But let's look at the clasp itself. Sorry, I bumped my camera there. Okay, so looking at the clasp, this is how it's made. So you can see, and this really baffles me, I have to be honest, because Gillio's regular covers, all the other covers that I have, like I only have a Puntos right now, but all of the other covers that I have except the Cara, they have the edges waxed and sealed. But on the Caras, they don't. They're just two layers of leather, one laying on top of the other. This allows, over time, for this leather to lift up, for you to get grunge and dirt and grossness in there. And I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why they do that. Versus the Moterm, you can see, is sealed all the way around with like colored wax. So you're not gonna get grime and dirt in there. That leather is not gonna lift and separate. It's gonna stay the same all the time. So to me, that's kind of a big deal. And just to prove it to you, with the Gillios, I'll just randomly grab an Appunto and look, they waxed them. So why is the Mia Cara so different that they can't do the same thing on the Clasp that they do on the Appuntos? I don't know. To me, it's a quality issue. It really should be done the same throughout, because this is going to exponentially wear better than this. Okay, now I've said that. All right, next. So the poppers are definitely, it's nice to have a double popper, because when you get thick, you can just go with that first one. If you get thick here, you've got to take some out, okay? So now let me zoom out so we can make sure we're getting both of them in frame here. Okay, so now when I'm opening them flat, you can see that there is more of a substantial, you know, leather difference here on this side. Okay, so now you can also see, let me zoom out just a bit more. There we go. You can also see that I have a full-size A6 half year. Okay, so it's not the 365, but it's half of that. And I'll take that out, and I mean, it slides in and out like a dream. So see, no cutting, perfect, you know, it's still completely intact. I'll set that aside. And then here I was able to perfectly fit a supplement, but I can just show you the comparison with the supplement. You can see that there is a substantial difference in that size, and without cutting this, which you can do, without cutting that, there's just no way that's gonna fit. And also, just say I did cut it, you're really gonna, it will fit, it will close, but you're gonna start overstuffing it to the point where this book is gonna start applying pressure to the outside leather here, and you're gonna get a patina on it that you may not actually want. For me, I don't want that, so I'm not gonna do it. So basically, I'm gonna just stick with the A6 for in here, and I have a handful of these, so when I fill one up, I'll just take it out and put in another one. So I'll just keep the supplement. Okay, so let's look at the side popper pockets. So with the Versa, it is sort of angled and comes to a point there. Actually, in my opinion, it just makes it easy to grab and open that popper. It's really just preference. It's not that this one's hard to grab and open. It's just this, for some reason, is a little easier. So grabbing and opening, this one is gusseted, so you can see that. This one is gusseted as well. And I would say they're probably about the same as far as what you can get in there. So that is that. Okay. And then obviously if a book slides in here, you know, you have that, you can put stuff in there as well. Now with the Apoca leather, it is a little more delicate than the leather for the Moterm. The Moterm is more of a pebbled leather, so it's going to be a little more durable. It's not going to pick up stains as easily. It's not going to patina. It's definitely done much differently than the Gillio leather. So again, that's just preference. You know, that's something you just have to think about, what works better for you. For me personally, because I know people ask, oh, it's a tough call. I like the feel of the feel and the smell. I mean, the smell. Oh, yeah. The smell of the Polka leather is just to die for. Whereas this one does smell like leather, but not as much. It doesn't have that like really saddly leather smell. So I like this one better for the durability. I like this one better for like the feel of the leather. I'm not a huge patina girl. You guys know that. I don't like super like seeing my stuff patina, which I kind of chuckle because I was talking to one of the girls from the Gillio fan group, and you know, we were just laughing about it, and I kind of would like to try an undyed just to force myself to go that route and watch it patina and just not do anything to it and let it go. But I also don't want to spend the money and be like crazy disappointed in how much I don't like it as it does that and be like, I wasted my money. Gah. But, you know, so if somebody wants to gift me a brand new, you know, Vanderspeck or Gillio undyed, I'd be more than happy to patina it for you. But I just don't know if I want to spend my money on that. So anyway, okay, moving on. So we have that difference there. So then just kind of looking, let's pull these out and let's look at the inner covers. Let's actually take this off. Okay. So the inner covers, there is a significant difference as well. And I think, again, it's because the rings were made bigger. So it's definitely bigger. So I have Pocket Plus in both of them. So this is what my Pocket Plus dividers, and these are homemade, but this is what my Pocket Plus dividers look like in my Gillio. And this is what they look like in my Moterm. So you can see it is wider, so it allows for Pocket Plus a little bit better than here. So this is 110% pocket size, a lot of these inserts, and or A6, I think I have in here, yep. So you can see that this is the A6 down to 86%, and it works fine. It's just that the tabs do stick out a little bit when I made them for what I consider to be Pocket Plus, and the edges stick out a little bit if I were to use this by itself. But I don't really ever use it by itself, so I think it'll be fine. Whereas the Moterm really not much sticks out at all. So this paper is sticking out, but I did make it a little bit bigger than it should be. So like a little, let's look at this way. There we go. So now you can see there's a couple of random papers in there that are sticking out. These are regular pocket size, that's why they're not. And then these ones here that are a little bit bigger, and these random ones, those are all Pocket Plus. So with that being said, you know, between the two, it's really just preference again. For me right now, it doesn't bother me a whole ton that these stick out some when they're in the actual cover. And let me get it back in here and I can show you. There we go. So that's basically how it lies, like that. And, you know, for some people that would bother them. This one is new, so I'm still kind of trying to like work it in so that it sits right. But so they do stick out some, but you know, there's still plenty of clearance with the clasp. And then this one, let me just get this. So this one doesn't really stick out any. Okay, now let me just pull something out here. There we go. And okay, so let's compare two more things that I can think about on the cover. So here is another one. For me, this is a definite Moterm win, and I'm sure you can figure out why. So Moterm actually carries the leather all the way over into the cover, and so this whole entire thing is leather, whereas Gillio stops it here, and then this is just sort of like a cardboardy type material. And to be honest, I wish that they'd just carried the leather all the way over. This way, if I did ever choose to carry the cover like this, when I had it open, this oddness in the back wouldn't show up. So I do kind of wish that Gillio had finished that back like that as well. So there's that one. And then as you can see, Moterm did carry that leather over, which is nice. Okay, and then for the last comparison, I'll set these two aside. The last comparison really is the back pockets. And let me zoom out so you can see them both at the same time. This is what we have. Okay, so let me take this card out. Gillio has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Moterm has technically, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I can count. So they are both wide so that they'll fit business card size in them very easily. So they are both wide for that. This one has less pockets, and honestly, I mean, you can see what I'm using them for here, but I will say I really like this feature. So if I were to use this as a wallet, I could put, I'm just going to put a card in there. Say this is my ID. You know, you'd see my ID in here. So I really like this feature. I wish Gillio had carried that over in their Cara as well. That to me is a really good idea and a really good feature. I mean, let's be real, more pockets is better, right? So I think the biggest reason why this one only has 5 is because this one particular card one takes up basically what would be these two here. And so I guess if I have to give up one of these pockets to gain this, I would be all for it. Because again, I think this is a great idea for just having and flipping out with your ID in it so that people can see it, like when you're at the store and you get ID'd or whatever. So that is a really good idea. The other thing is Gillio only has this one back slip pocket here, whereas Moterm has 1, 2. So the binder actually slips back here, and then you have another whole entire slip pocket that you can put stuff in here. And just so that you guys can see, that one is lined as well, and Gillio's is lined. So Gillio's is lined with more of a kind of, I don't know if it's like a faux leather. I'm guessing it is sort of like a flexible faux leather. Whereas Moterm is sort of more like a vinyl-y type material. Okay, so you can see that there. All right, so back pocket wise, really about the same. Again, faux leather and that sort of vinyl-y material. So, you know, you can really, you can see I kind of used this one as a wallet not that long ago, so I have receipts in here, but they really probably fit about the same. I mean, this one's a little bit wider, so you're going to get a little bit more in it than the Gillio, but essentially you're going to be able to fit about the same. So that's about it. You know, obviously I could talk about quality issues between the two. I don't really honestly think that that's even fair to start talking about quality of one versus the other, because you're talking about a cover that is like a third of the cost of the Gillio. So for me to nitpick on things from this to this and this, it just doesn't really, that to me doesn't seem like a fair a fair shake. I will tell you, in my personal experience, that just kind of looking at the stitching and looking at the corners and such of the Moterm currently, right now, I'm more impressed with the quality versus price to the quality versus price of the Gillio. And this is what I mean. So this particular Moterm is right around, I'm just going to say I'm going to round and say $60 for this one. Okay, for the Moterm Versa Pocket versus $400. So definitely, you know, you're talking huge difference, huge deal. And so that is definitely difficult to try and ever compare apples to apples. It's, you know, it's definitely not the same in that sense to be able to compare it. Okay, guys, so if you have any questions about the two, anything else that you would like to know about, definitely feel free to put a message down below, and I will do my best to do my best to answer your question. And you can always catch my IG handle as well if you cannot, if I don't answer here on YouTube, because sometimes I don't get the messages. So anyway, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.